Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. Today guys, I'll be checking out James Barr and Piers Morgan as they debate May Cinderella play. I'm excited for this. If you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please consider subscribing and let's just jump right into this video.
Welcome back to Piers Morgan Uncensored. I'm joined by my super PAC. First time these three have been together. Talk TV's international editor, Isabel Oakeshott. Talk TV contributor, Paula Rowan-Adrian. And the comedian, his words not mine, James Barr. Welcome to all of you.
Wow, you're so gracious, Piers.
Just a little gag, James, to get you in the right spirit. I want to pay a little tribute before we get to the PAC to one of Britain's greatest ever actors. And I use that phrase very deliberately. Sir Michael Gambon has died aged 82. So many things you could say about him. He just had an amazing career, amazing range. He was one of the true greats that our theatre has ever produced. And of course did many great movies and so on. I once interviewed him at the National Theatre, where he played many a great role. And I asked him what he thought of the increasing malaise of sort of talentless, Z-list celebrity wannabes trying to be stars. And he went, all I've ever wanted to do was act. I remember sitting in this very dressing room after my first hit here, and people outside applauding when they saw me at the window. And that was so exciting. It's what I wanted, recognition of my work. But what all these modern celebrities want is a quick buck with no talent or hard work required. It's awful. So I said to him, what would you call this type of person? And Sir Michael looked at me and smirked and said, I would call them a cretin. R.I.P. Sir Michael.
That's funny.
You were brilliant on stage and you were brilliant off it to interview. A great actor. I want to talk about another theatrical story. Cinderella, the Scottish ballet, is doing what everyone does now. They're taking a very popular classic fairy tale, which obviously is about a woman, identifying as a woman. And they're going to switch it around. So apparently audiences won't know, apparently, from night to night. It'll be very exciting, whether it'll be Cinderella or Cinderella. To which my point, Isabel, is why can't they just leave this stuff alone? Why do the woke brigade have to come for everything? Why do they have to ruin everything? Why do they have to de-gender, change gender, abuse gender? Why can't they just leave us alone, these people? Why can't Cinderella be Cinderella?
Do you know something really weird? This was actually first done in the 60s.
Yes.
There was a thing called Cinderella.
Yes.
A film. I think it was
Jerry
a film.
Lewis. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
Fantastic.
This is not...
It's a joke.
Well, it was satire, wasn't it? But it's not...
Yes.
So this isn't even original. Look, I'm going to actually surprise you and say... I actually think this
Oh,
sounds quite
God,
fun.
no, you've gone.
I think it
You've
sounds
gone.
quite fun.
We've lost you.
I wouldn't take my kids to it.
You're
but
supposed to be on this PAC as a voice of common sense.
I
What's the
know.
matter with you?
Come on, it's quite entertaining.
Huh?
I mean,
No, it's
I
not.
quite like that element of jeopardy. Is it going to be Cinderella or
But hang on a
Cinderella?
minute, Isabel. You wouldn't take your children to it.
I'm
Come
jo-
on, of
I'm-
course you would.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
It's an
I
absolute
wouldn't take
pile
any
of
of my
old
kids to it.
rubbish. It's just attention seeking.
James, all right, James,
Listen,
I know what you're going to say. Why?
Why are
though?
you bothered? But actually, it's a really important thing because it's flipping the narrative and making
not
the guy.
What's the
victim.
narrative?
No,
It's not
it is
important.
because it's turning the guy into the victim who needs saving,
Oh, yeah.
and ultimately,
Okay, now
we
he's
all
lost me.
need saving. Particularly you
no,
right now on this
I
panel.
don't
by the
need
looks of things.
saving.
Well, why don't you love
Everyone
this?
needs
It's an
to save me.
upside down realm where everyone is. You could actually play one of the ugly sisters. Finally, your dream role.
Oh, you came to play, didn't you?
Ow.
Oh.
But on a serious
Paula.
note, we talk about masculine toxicity, and here we have the classic example. Why aren't you supporting this? Why don't you want men to be vulnerable? Why don't you want other men
God.
to see men
Okay, Piers, I've changed
in
my mind.
that
See what
kind of
you've done?
role?
Oh, I've changed
I'm
my
just
mind.
saying.
I don't
I'm
mind
just
men
saying.
being vulnerable, but you know what I love most in the world? I like a
Tradition.
stiff upper British lip.
A bit
Wow.
of tradition.
I like
Okay.
people who don't spend their entire time
That
blubbing.
is what
their entire
these
time
men who are
playing
in
the
this
victim.
role have. They
I don't
have
want
resilience
I'm
to stand up
absolutely
against this
done
kind of
up
stuff.
to here with the victim culture that we now have to endure, where everyone's a victim. Weakness is celebrated.
I think there's a difference
strength
between
is
being a victim and
strength
being
is a
vulnerable.
problem. Right? Everyone has to emote 24/7.
Did
you
you
come
not
into
ask-
work.
Did you not ask the question?
can't handle
Piers?
it.
Why? He asked the question, why? That sounded like a victim to me.
Do you know
These
who's
are
not?
strong
I'll tell you who's
men
not a victim.
who are
I'll tell you who's
voicing-
not a victim. Mick Jagger, right? Who's 80 years old, still doing his thing. Amazing. Really. Physical freak to be still prancing around doing that. I mean, look at Joe Biden by comparison.
I know.
They're within about 8 months of age, right? Mick Jagger has announced he's not going to give his money to his 8 kids. He's got apparently $500 million, right? I like that idea. If my kids are watching, I really like that idea. Because why would you give, Isabel, all that cash to young people before they've even tried to make their own way in many of the cases of his kids? Some are still very young. Why remove all hunger? People I know who've done that too. I know people who've given their kids loads of money.
It's a very bad idea.
It kills the hunger.
Yeah, I could.
And without a hunger and desire to make that money for yourself, I think you end up with just a wasted life.
I completely agree with you. I am going to assume that he's leaving them something. They probably already have assets, whether it's property or whatever. But absolutely, if you make life too easy for your children, if they don't actually have to feel a bit of a struggle, then there's nothing to get up for. And they they drift around, they flop around.
Yeah, I talked to Cristiano Ronaldo about this, right? And we had dinner one night after I interviewed him the first time. And he was saying that, his son's very good at football, his older son. And he said he's very, very good, but he can't give him the hunger that he had. Yeah. He was literally hungry.
Yes.
He used to sit round the back of a McDonald's and 2 lovely ladies, he said, we tried to find them, but we couldn't. They used to give him the cast-off.
That's problematic.
Yeah, we used to give the cast-off Big Macs, right?
Right.
And he said that was how hungry I was. So everything was driven by this intense desire to get out of that cycle he was in of hunger. But when his son has now got a dad worth $1 billion, probably, right? You can't give. That doesn't mean to say he won't develop his own desire and hunger. It's so much harder to instill it in someone, right?
I would just say I'd like to pick up on what you said there, because you were commending Mick Jagger for jumping around on stage at his age.
Yes.
But you wouldn't say that about Madonna. So I do think there's some hypocrisy.
No, because it's the way she dresses and the way she humiliates herself.
And leading on from that, I'm not actually concerned whether Mick Jagger would leave his children money. I mean, Jerry Hall. Bianca Jagger. I mean, these are strong women. They are there supporting the children. So this isn't really about Mick Jagger leaving his children.
But it's more about a principle. I do think I've seen people leave their kids too much money, and they just remove any incentive to
How much money are you leaving your kids, Piers?
Very little.
Right.
Actually, well, I say very little. I'd like to think I can help them in some way, right? I would like to remove from everybody, right? Never mind my kids, but anyone's kids, right? I'd like to remove the stress of having no money. I think the stress of not being able to feed yourself or feed your children or your family or whatever, that is one of the worst stresses in the world outside of bad health, right?
And I think this is ultimately the problem with this article, because Mick Jagger can sit back and laugh about how he's not going to leave his very comfortable children more money. They don't need it.
It'd be interesting to know what he is going to do with it. I don't know whether he's revealed that.
He said he might give it to charity. He said you might do some good in the world.
Yeah, well, that's great.
It's an LGBTQ plus charity.
Not enough. Hang on, what did you call it? LGBT. Hang on, what did you call it?
Don't even start.
What happened to the 2?
Oh, goodness me.
Where are the 2s?
Yeah, they're there.
No, you didn't say 2.
Leave me alone.
No, I won't.
You don't come on this show to be left
You
alone.
have ungendered the 2s.
The
2 spirits.
The 2 spirits, of course. No, they're very.
Where are they then? Why didn't you say
two
2 plus?
2 LGBTQIA+.
Wow, I'm really disappointed in you, James.
Thank you.
I really think. I mean, obviously by tomorrow there'll be another one, but at the moment it is Q2 plus.
It is.
Now I know that, and I'm surprised you don't know that.
I think we should cancel him. Maybe.
Well,
maybe.
Honestly,
hold on a second. I thought you caught the woke mind virus.
As a 2-spirit penguin
now...
myself, I've identified as a 2. I'm actually personally taking that very badly.
So you're saying you're half black and half white? Piers?
No, I'm a 2-spirit penguin. Well, I think we all are a bit. I had my DNA. I had my DNA done.
Right.
No, 0 English in me.
Really?
0.
What's in
Mainly
you?
Irish, a bit of Scottish. They charted me back to Robert the Bruce. Little bit of Welsh. A little bit of Middle Eastern.
Quite a lot of misogyny.
But absolutely, sorry?
And a lot of misogyny.
Ooh! But 0 English. Very interesting.
Yeah.
And yet I was born in England.
Scottish would feel about that. So I'm thinking that we're on a work due to Scotland to watch the ballet, right?
No, we're not.
Right.
We're going to talk instead about... Is calling somebody woke as bad as a racial slur? Actress Kathy Tyson said in an interview with The Telegraph, "For me, it's as bad a term as an offensive racial slur. The term woke and race guard are deeply offensive to me," she quoted. So the latter is thrown in your face if you make criticism of anything. So here's the thing, James. I don't think it is, because I read a whole book about this. I identify as woke by the original definition, which came from the American music business in the 60s. And it was about raising awareness of social and racial injustice. I absolutely, by that criteria, I'm a woke person, right? What's happened is woke has become hijacked by a lot of social media mobs in particular, and they use it as a form of fascism now to basically try and make everybody conform to their way of thinking. That's my problem with it.
See, I find that interesting because I actually think it's that, but also the opposite of that, in that people use it as a slur to say, to undermine your...
Absolutely.
I think it's become a slur by definition because the people in that woke world who identify themselves as
Well, I'm not
woke,
entirely sure why you're blaming woke people for that.
because a lot of them, I think, are actually worthy of condemnation for propagating the nonsensical views they have and then expecting all of us to agree with it.
But you have actually used the word woke about me as a slur. You've called me a wokey
Yes,
or whatever.
I called you a wokey.
Right, exactly. So, in a way, you're...
That's because you propagate woke thought processes which are ridiculous.
But
So you think it's ridiculous to, like, stand against racism?
Well, no, but if I asked you, for example, should biological males be allowed to compete in women's sport? Hang on, what would you say?
This is a
What would you
crazy
say?
question that I'm not here to talk about.
What would you say?
Yes, because it's not something
can't
I'm an
answer,
expert
can you?
on. I'm not an expert on it.
No.
So
I know.
you also probably don't have
you don't
the
want
right
to say,
answer.
because you know what you would have to say to fit the criteria of being a wokey. You would have to say you agree with it, and in that moment, everyone watching at home goes, well, "You're a complete lunatic then. You're a wokey by the common definition today."
But
Isabel.
she's a complete classic of the genre, isn't she? Because she's going on about how deeply offended she is. And that is the whole thing about wokery. It's continually about people being offended
by everything.
and causing offense. And then
everyone.
Everyone. And I mean...
So should Suella Braverman have been deeply offended by Gary Lineker's tweet? I don't think she should have been. But she told us that she was. She told us how outraged she was and how offended she was and insulted
Paul, I don't
she was.
think even you
and
think
he
that...
was suspended for that.
I don't think even you, as a black woman, can feel comfortable that calling someone woke is as bad as a racial slur. Come on.
What the point is, and it's a point that I agree with James and pick up on, it's used now as a pejorative, isn't it? It's used to insult.
When it's deserved. When it's deserved, yeah.
I don't think it is when it's deserved. I think it's just thrown out there for anybody who happens to say, hang on a minute, is this fair?
No, I would say
Is this
99% of people that I call woke in a derogatory manner deserve it because they're being ridiculous.
So it is a slur, you agree?
Well, I'm just going to say, but that's the point.
I don't think it even comes close to being a slur as like a racial slur.
You're using it as a slur.
Well, I'm not. I'm saying that your views, the woke world's view of life, I find ridiculous, right? Utterly ridiculous. Therefore, I'm using it as a term of mockery. Abusing someone about their skin colour is a completely different, and in my view, far more serious thing.
So why are you using the word woke? Why don't you stop using the word woke as a pejorative and say that what you are saying is ridiculous or what you're saying is nonsense?
Because it really annoys the wokies when I call them
wokies.
I don't think we're annoyed, are we, Paula?
Oh, yes.
I'm pretty calm. I'm not annoyed at all. I feel really proud of being called woke because it means I'm trying to make the world a better place.
And not only that, but you know what happens,
woke people
Piers?
make the world a worse place. They make it a joyless, humorless, fascist state where everybody has to look the same, sound the same, say the right things, can't crack any jokes.
That's actually disgusting.
Blah, blah, blah. It is disgusting. I agree. We finally agree,
How
James.
could you possibly think that we all want each other to look the same when we're all about inclusivity for
Do you know, I've just realised, looking at you sitting in that chair, you're the new Richard Tyers.
Thank you.
Although I couldn't think of anybody
that sounds like a slur.
less like Richard Tyers in the entire world.
That definitely felt like a slur, to be honest with you.
Actually,
I'm
it's a
putting my Ofcom complaint in tonight.
So woke Richard Tyers.
It's a compliment, and in about a minute, when you go off there, you're going to realise why Isabel may not see that as a slur. Are you aware that?
No.
Oh, right.
Oh, tell me, what have I missed?
Oh, they're an item.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you've just abused Isabel's
Oh, goodness me.
All right.
Right, which is fine, but you might feel a little uncomfortable now.
Right. No. Well,
which is great because I made it.
I didn't get offended. And neither would he.
I made it end with a moment of excruciating, mortifying embarrassment for James Barr, and that's always a good way to finish a pack. Great to see you. Come back soon, James.
Thank you.
Wow, you guys, that was such a funny one from Piers Morgan. When he mentioned the word Cinderella, I couldn't contain my laughter because it's so funny, but yet I don't know why they're trying to like remake every movie that everyone knows about. I'll say that it's becoming something else, and the way they are shoving it down people's throat is totally unfair, and nobody should be made to believe in what he or she does not want to believe in. I really had fun reacting to Piers Morgan. If you guys totally enjoyed watching, give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.